We have plenty of content taking y'all straight up to lock today. Mlb Dfs locks early. I believe it's 6:40 or 6:45. That's why we're on a little bit earlier. Well, this is kind of our usual time, but we probably would be on a little bit later if it was a 7 o'clock start, because we're looking at a 5-game slate. Myself, Andre, our first time talking baseball this year. Usually I catch you on the crosstalk, but we get to talk for an hour. We can talk about how terrible our Heat are. Looking forward to tomorrow night, kind of, sort of, somewhat, not really. But Udonis Haslem was pretty cool, right, Andre? That was pretty fun the last day of the year.
That was really interesting and really cool. I wish I would have played that slate, because I would have played definitely like a lot of them just because of this last game.
But yeah, I assume he's not going to get – what's up?
No, I was going to say, how do you think they're going to do tomorrow? Do you think they're going to win?
I don't know. I'm not terribly confident.
I'm not either after how we just like stunk against Atlanta. We should have beat them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The Bulls, they're not terribly imposing, but there's some talent there. It's a home game. Theoretically, they should win, but wouldn't be shocked. I was not surprised about OKC. I did like OKC versus New Orleans. I love that team. I love their prospects going forward. So young, and they went 15 draft picks, 15 first rounders the next 5 years. I'm really curious to see what they do with that. But SGA's 23, 24 or so. Just lots of talent there. And Williams, of course, they really hit on Williams this year in the draft, who looks spectacular. They're going to be fun to watch. Hopefully in the playoffs, right? They didn't lock it up, right? They had to win 2 games, correct?
They have to play Minnesota now, which I think they could definitely beat Minnesota for sure. I would love to see them in the playoffs, get that experience. And I think they still will have a lottery pick too this year. So they make out like bandits. And if they end up getting Victor, watch out.
Oh, it's all over. The length in that team would be ridiculous. And if that homeroom guy's worth anything, if he's good, like obviously he was out all season long, he's a lottery pick from last season, the length will be outrageous. A lot of fun to watch. What's the line in that game? I feel like that's shouldn't OKC, they shouldn't be like a 2 or 3 point dog in Minnesota, right? The game's in Minnesota, I think. We'll talk baseball in a second. Apologies, but feel free to chime in. What's up, chat? What are your thoughts as far as the basketball last night, or the basketball going forward? The playoffs starting officially. We're going to have us starting, I believe, on Saturday. But what's the line, Andre? You set the line for that game. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it.
The spread is +5.5 on OKC.
OKC's getting 5.5?
Yeah, +5.5.
That's outrageous. They must think Gobert's playing because he makes them worse.
That's the thing. I don't understand. Like, he said he's questionable, so even if he doesn't, if Gobert doesn't play, it's gonna be all problems for for Minnesota, because I think they really won't be able to beat OKC. I think if Gobert doesn't play too as well, then I think OKC might end up being the favorite. Well, at least I think they should be the favorite, but it probably won't move that way.
I might try to call it. I mean, the line's 5.5. That seems outrageous for OKC. I think that should be 2 or 3. We see Winky in chat. What's up, Winky? Winky's a Bulls fan, diehard Bulls fan, and like he still cares. So they're like a 7 or an 8 or a 9 seed, and even if they move on, they're going to get walloped in the first round. And like their prospects going forward are terrible. Sorry, like your best player is 33.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. Good.
I'm glad at least I got that game right. Like, I called the Bulls to beat the Toronto Raptors because I felt like DeMar just wanted to do it really bad, especially in Toronto.
Did you see his daughter in the crowd? I'm sure you saw. She was all over social media.
God, like, you can hear the screams on TV. That's how loud it was. Her screaming was that loud. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, no wonder why they're missing free throws. It's no excuse, but still.
She timed them just right, screaming as the other team is shooting free throws. And did they shoot like 50% or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, that was something outrageous. It was like 17 free throws.
That was pretty impressive for sure. That would get me to jolt if I was at the line. These guys are professionals, and they hear all sorts of things, and I guess you can block most stuff out, but that was the secret weapon. I don't know if the bookmakers knew about DeMar's daughter being in the front row. But all right, let's talk today's baseball slate. We have a 5-gamer, plenty of time. Most of the lineups are out. We're still waiting for 3. We're waiting for the Milwaukee-San Diego game. Jordan Montgomery starting for St. Louis versus Pittsburgh. That's Velasquez on the other side. We do have the Cardinals lineup, but we also got a pitching change Colin Ray, a person named Colin Ray, will be throwing baseballs tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers. This just dropped before the show started. Was not aware of this person. It's just how baseball works sometimes. Like, who is this guy? Never heard of him. Okay, I guess he's throwing baseballs, and he's been in the minor leagues the last several years. He pitched for the Padres in 2015, revenge game from 8 years ago. A cup of coffee in Milwaukee, Chicago, but this is not a prospect. He's 32 years old, and we're talking about maybe potentially a piggyback situation, right? Because earlier in the day, we thought it was going to be a Bryce Wilson, right? We thought Bryce Wilson was the guy that was going to start, and maybe that's what's going on, like 3-3. He pitched 2 times this year in the minor league so far, 3 innings and 4 innings. Unspectacularly, it wasn't spectacular. I don't think this makes the San Diego bats any less appealing. If anything, it looks like they're a little bit more appealing because Colin Ray just doesn't look very good. I'm not really sure the reasoning why he got called up, but just maybe eat a few innings, I suppose. Otherwise, we have all the lineups. If anything changes, it doesn't happen terribly often. This is baseball. It's not basketball, but of course, we'll be on top of that as well. We have our very first, to my knowledge at least, Andre. We talked about this pre-show, and you got boots in the ground, right? You can confirm. I don't know if you're outside or not. You stepped outside, but New York, very first fire emoji from Kevin Roth. The Weather Edge tool is popping for New York as far as heat, as far as prime hitting conditions. Let's see. 85 previous games there in New York, according to Kevin Roth's Weather Edge tool. 25% bump in homers, 11% bump in runs. We're looking at 87 degrees, 11 miles per hour, straight to dead center field. I guess the dew point's good too. I'm not a dew point enthusiast. I don't really know what that means, but it's 42. But is that good or bad for baseball? I suppose it's good. We got a fire emoji. Have you been outside? You're in New York still, right? I think you are.
Yes, I am. I got off work at 3:00 today, and it was beautiful. Just made me want to stay outside all day and go play some basketball and go for a little hike. But we had to come here, make some money.
Is 87 beautiful? You like it 87?
Yeah, I like 87. I don't mind the hot weather. Like when it's hot, I'm fine. Like it's to me, nothing is too hot unless it's like one like 40 or 130.
140.
Yeah, that's like you gotta be like in like overseas, like in like the Middle East for stuff like that. But
when the World Cup was taking place, yeah.
Yeah, but but when it's like 110, I'm fine with that. Like I just don't. I love it. Like to me, that's why I want to move to a place like Arizona. Don't even mind California too a lot. So I love the heat.
Yeah, man. Hey, Arizona, a lot of spring training baseball too. You can just jump around and catch all those spring training games out there in Arizona. Hang out with Keith. Keith's out there in Arizona as well. Otherwise, as far as weather, precipitation-wise, I don't see anything, right? Just want to confirm. If there is anything that pops up, Roth will be on cheap and around. Kevin Roth will jump on right around 6 o'clock, take you guys up the lock. I believe it's TJ Zwarych. I'm not sure who's with TJ, to be honest. I missed that.
My guy,
we know
Will.
There you go, Will. There you go. So that's a good team to take you guys home, Will and TJ. Chat, this is an interactive show, especially today. It's a 5-gamer. We encourage the conversation. Why are we not talking about so-and-so? Tell us you're wrong about this. Explain, this guy's overrated. Whatever you want to say. If we didn't mention somebody, well, why didn't you mention this guy? The guy we're going to mention, the guy we're going to start with as far as the overall screenshot on the slate, right? So there's 10 pitchers. 10 pitchers taking the bump. There's one that's very clearly better than the rest, I think. Nick Lodolo, the ballpark's not spectacular. Philadelphia's not a team you necessarily want to pick on, but they are dealing with some injuries. Obviously, Hoskins done with the year. We're not sure when Bryce Harper's coming back, but he's not playing tonight. We care about tonight and tonight only. The back half's pretty rough. The front half's pretty good, obviously. Although I think he just mowed this team down last week with 12 strikeouts, I want to say. And Schwarber doesn't scare me because left on left, Lodolo is just the nuts. Highest K rate on the slate by a good bit. The lowest Sierra as well. I know we touched on Lodolo briefly before the show started. That seems like a good place to start. You agree he's the very clear best pitcher on this slate, and what are we doing with him with that knowledge?
We're playing a lot of them. Almost in all my lineups, I would say I want to play him. 30% strikeout rate, and you striking out lefties at 40%. Like you said, we got no Harper in the lineup today as well, and this only 1, 2, 3, 4, five guys. Five guys maybe, or 5 guys I believe with like less than 4 guys with less than 20%. No, yeah, 4 guys with less than like 21% strikeout rate that you got to kind of worry about and get through. But I think Lodolo's a nice, talented young pitcher that's in the league, and he doesn't give up fly balls a lot. And I think he could definitely do well against these some of these righties here. And I look forward to it. And what also makes me really like him a lot too is looking at the walk rate of these batters, especially when you're going now towards the bottom of the inning. Bottom of the lineup, sorry. They only give up about like 6% from like Castillo's down. I mean, Castilianos down is 6%, 8%, 7%, 6%, 2% or 7%. So that means to me, like, they're not being patient. They're not trying to like pretty much just play to get on base. They're just playing to swing and hit the ball and put it in play. So therefore, it's either going to be a swing and a miss, or probably just they're going to hit the ball either out the park or it's going to be an out. So I'm pretty much going to be all over going Dolo today. Like I said, probably for all my lineups, and not majority of them.
So ownership wise on DK, you got to roster 20% of these starting pitchers. Lodolo currently getting 48% of ownership. Not terribly surprising. On FanDuel, obviously you only pick one over there. And the tricky thing with FanDuel, and we'll get to it, is like Chris Bassett, the Hound, is getting a significant discount based upon, I suppose, how terrible he's been so far this season. Of course, he's facing Detroit. And it's a bit of a decision point because like 10-8 for Lodolo versus 7-3 for Bassett, it really opens the bats up. Obviously, you're getting like 3 prime bats as an upgrade if you want to go that route. But just something worth considering. And for that reason, Lodolo only 26% ownership, and Bassett's actually getting 23. Also, to your point, you fire up the old plate IQ, right? And a couple of the contact guys you mentioned, there's some guys that don't strike out. Well, a couple of guys that don't strike out, they're not like imposing. Harrison has no power. Christian Pache is like a defensive prospect basically. So, very little power in that bat. Again, the front half's kind of tough to get through. Real Muto's legit. Turner's legit. Schwarber even left on left has some power. Castellanos kind of lost it last year, but, he still may find it. We'll see. But he was terrible last year versus righties. Was it? Am I seeing this right as far as his ISO? Is that 0.098? Very bad. Not good. Are you in the betting streets today as far as props? Reds Gal in chat's asking the 7.5K prop. How do you feel about that? Do you have a lean? To me, that sounds about right off the top of my head. Wonder what our projection is.
I would definitely go put the over on that one. It's for Lodolo, I would bet the over on that, I think, personally. But I haven't got around to getting my sports bets in yet today. I don't know if I'll even do a few. I might maybe do like a prize pick or two.
How's that working out? In New York, you have prize picks? I thought generally speaking, prize picks was in places that don't have sports betting legalized. Is that not? But you have both there.
Oh, yeah, we have both. I love prize picks. It's probably the best. I've just made so much money on prize picks this year. It's crazy.
For what it's worth, by the way, Dolo, it's 7.24K is a medium projection for Cardi for the bat. For me, it's a stay away. I would just stay away from it and just watch Lodolo, I suppose. I'll tell you another thing that's nice about Lodolo, kind of surprisingly, right? Young arm, Cincinnati's going nowhere. You think they wouldn't have to push him for any reason, but his 2 starts this year, both starts, I think 103 pitches and 109, over 103 per each one, right? So whatever leash that might exist, it's not there. It's not a thing. So I feel really good about him. Obviously, ownership's going to be there, and I'm guessing I'm okay holding hands at the field and just kind of getting different elsewhere. Sort of alluded to it as far as the other options, and they get thin pretty quickly, right? Chris Bassett's the conversation we have to have, right? Big free agent for Toronto. Always kind of sort of felt like an overachiever in my head. Nothing spectacular, but it's kind of got the job done. He's out of Oakland. He's out of San Fran or the West Coast. I think he pitched for both those teams. I could be wrong. I think he pitched for both. And now he's in Toronto, tougher ballpark. They did move those. They shortened the fences in Toronto. They messed with the dimensions a little bit there. Supposedly it's going to help the offense a little bit. We'll see. Got to get a sample size in that, obviously. But he's just been bad. Not striking guys out. The velocity's down. The walks are up. But he's facing the Tigers, who are a horrendous baseball team. A lot of young guys that might someday be good. We'll see. But, how are you handling Chris Bassett? Because For me, I think I'm less than the field on Bassett, especially where he's like really heavily owned.
I would probably be at the field with them. I think that this ideally should be the bounce back spot for him. Like everyone in Detroit's lineup just strikes out. They have just a high strikeout rate. So to me, I'm gonna just trust the data, trust over a long period of time that he's had, and not just 2 starts that he's been gotten up to this year, and that hasn't been that great. And I'm just gonna ride with it. Like I understand, yeah, he might walk a few guys, but if he can just get through, like get to the 5th inning and get about 5 or 6 strikeouts, I'll be happy. And I think that he can definitely do that and not give up any runs, which is what I hope he doesn't do, because I know he does give up a lot, some fly balls to lefties a little bit, but I think he could definitely. Definitely is a good guy to be in play tonight, and probably should be at the field with him. If not, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, you fire up the plate IQ. Detroit almost always looks like basically red across the board. There is some power from I don't know how to say this guy's name. Is it Mattoon or Matan? I should know. I've seen him enough. He's shown some power. He's hit a couple homers off some good pitchers to start the season. I feel like he got Manoah and maybe somebody else as well. Carpenter's got a lot of power, 257 isolated power versus righties dating back to last season. Tyler Nevin batting second as a 20 ISO, Andre. What does a 20 ISO looks like? Like, honestly, I have to – that's 110 plate appearances. I'm pulling it up. I got to know what that is. So versus lefties last year, he did have – let's see. Wait, Tyler Nevin – oh, no, I'm sorry, versus righties. Yeah, so a 174 batting average. So it's 2 extra base hits and 110 plate appearances, 2 doubles, not even a triple or a homer. That's what a 20 – 2 doubles and 110 plate appearances. That's amazing. Man, why is he batting second? That seems weird. I guess they needed a righty to chop up their lefties. I suppose that's the thought process there, but put Torkelson in batting second or something like that, or Baez. I know Baez hasn't been great, but just odd. Yeah, I'm gonna play some of these Tigers begrudgingly because it feels like a leverage play. We'll talk about that when we talk about stacks, and I'm willing to do it on a 5-gamer. On a 5-gamer, I'm much more likely to get squirrely and get goofy than it is like a 10 or 15, because you got to beat a lot of teams on a 10-game slate and 15-game slate. On a 5-game slate, if you just catch the team that has 3 home runs and 8 runs, if the rest of everyone else is quiet, right? Then you don't have to necessarily outrun the bear. You got to be faster than everybody else running away from the bear. Is that how that goes? I haven't watched Cocaine Bear yet, so I'm not sure. It's coming on Friday on Peacock.
It's a funny movie. It's pretty funny, but yeah, I think you're right with that. But also, like, looking at it here, like he had 2 starts this year so far. His second one against the Angels wasn't that bad. 19 fantasy points on Draftkings, made it to 6 innings. The first start was against St. Louis, but we know St. Louis is a good team this year, so I'm not gonna fault. I wouldn't even have that bad of a game against St. Louis, but it was pretty bad. But I think that you can still. I think he's a good guy to roster here on the slate. And actually at the discount of 7.3 on FanDuel, if he can give you, because Lodolo, obviously, we have him as a top pitcher, but if he can give you anywhere close to that, which is like if he gets anywhere in the 35 range to even 40 range, and Lodolo only gets you like, if the Lodolo only gets you probably like 50, that's not enough, because you have the leverage of playing bigger more expensive bats on the other side.
I have to ask you more questions about Cocaine Bear. You left the house and put on pants and said that this is the plans today, or did you kind of fall into it? Did you get trapped? You said this is what we're doing. We're gonna go see Cocaine Bear, and we're gonna have a good time.
Me and my fiance, we love going to the movies. That's one of the things like we love to do. We love films, so we literally we said this looks like it's gonna be a funny movie. We went and saw it one day, and it was hilarious. It definitely was hilarious.
You just don't take it too seriously. Like, I assume you got to go in with the attitude of it's nonsense and just.
Oh, but it's based on a true story though, Dean. But I don't know. I think the way that it was explored, like the imagination went wild when they probably ran with the thought of giving a bear cocaine and all this stuff happening. But but I don't think all those exact events happened. But it definitely was made for comedy and pure comedy and laughs. And honestly, I recommend everyone go see it at once, especially. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that on there because I don't want to get us what's that word? Get us
Demonetized?
Yes, demonetized.
Yeah, I will. I watch it on Peacock. It's on Peacock. I think starting tomorrow night. I saw an ad for it, and like, yeah, just don't ask too many questions and just roll with it. And I'll probably have a good time with it.
Yes,
all right, back to the slate. There are 10 pitchers throwing baseballs. We talked about 2 of them, right? Lodolo. We talked about the Toronto pitcher that I'm losing his Bassett. Geez, for some reason I'm losing the names out of nowhere for no particular reason. I think Joe Ryan's actually good, like really good. A really good pitcher, but I don't know if I love him pitching in New York today necessarily. The conditions are not suitable for pitching.
Yeah, I have because this is the hardest spot for me to try to figure out what I want to do because the weather here is so nice and theoretically should be. It's theoretically going to be great, but like you said, Joe Ryan's not a bad pitcher. But he gives up a lot of fly balls on both sides of the plate, so it can go either way. I think you should definitely play him though. But I have more concerns on the other side with Brito. Like he's a ground ball pitcher. We don't know. I don't know much else about him. Besides, I know that he gets a lot of ground balls and he doesn't strike out righties that well. But I kind of want to take some chances on Minnesota too.
Yeah, so he's not a big prospect on the Yankees. He's still young. I think according to Fangraphs, he's their 15th ranked prospect.
Mm-hmm.
He's been okay so far, right? He survived. Yeah. This Minnesota lineup is not spectacular. They have the Canadian prospect leading off. We talked to TJ about this the other day. Julian is leading off there for Minnesota. We talked about this pre-show. I could not believe that Buxton's back in the lineup today, as fragile as his history is. That collision yesterday, but he's back. Correa's back as well. So, I mean, there's still no Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo could be a lot of fun in Yankee Stadium. There's lefty power, but especially against a guy like Brito. But no Gallo. The rest of the lineup, not a lot of power, right? It's Buxton. Even last year, Correa's power was it was sapped. It wasn't very good. 146 ISO against righties. That's pretty bad. If you look at the plate IQ, the only player in green is Buxton, jumping off the table for sure. I think Miranda's a guy that can get there with power over there. Historically, he probably can catch up. But last year it didn't happen. Obviously, he's not a complete project just yet. But in this leadoff hitter, Julian, I think he's an interesting little cheapie to make stuff work. On the road, leading off, decent shot at 5 at-bats. In the minors, he had like 17 and 16 as far as swipes and homers. So a little bit of speed, a little bit of pop, and some pedigree as well. I think he was like a top 100 prospect, I want to say. One of Minnesota's better prospects. And well, TJ's like, yeah, TJ will be talking about him, I'm sure, plenty. His homerism will show on Julian. He actually slid into my DMs talking about him. He goes, oh, look who's leading off today for Minnesota. Very excited about Julian leading off for the Twins. And you mentioned the Yankees. Judge, of course, obviously. He doesn't need the fire emoji, but he'll take it, right? He'll just go a little bit further.
Exactly.
Stanton doesn't need it. Rizzo, when he gets a hold of it. Cordero's in a couple homers this year, so it's kind of surprising. And he actually had some good power last year, 221 ISO and 255 at bats versus right-handers. Gleiber, he started off pretty hot this year as well. Volpe back down in the 9 hole. That's interesting. They let him off the other day. Now they dropped him back in the 9 spot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's not working out so far, but he's obviously a huge prospect for them. And I assume he's still pretty cheap. I've not checked his price tag. The Yankees, you're just supposed to play. There's certain teams you're supposed to play a stack of every single day, like the Dodgers. Why am I not stacking the Dodgers every single day? Why am I not doing that at least once? Especially when Muncie's in San Francisco. We hate San Francisco. I don't know what that city did to him. We just not like them.
I couldn't tell you.
There's a clip from several years ago when Madison Bumgarner played for the Giants, and he was good. I think it was Bumgarner. And Bumgarner is kind of an ornery fella. He barks a lot. He doesn't like when, anything fun. he would not like Cocaine Bear, Madison Bumgarner. I'm sure. I imagine so. He would go in and like he would stick his nose up at it. But Muncy hit a homer off him like in the river and was taunting. It was pretty fun. There's a clip there someplace. I don't know if you ever want to go to a little Google search. I'm pretty sure that was Bumgarner versus Muncy in San Fran. Other pitchers that are worth considering in this slates. Again, we're kind of losing them, but I think there's one more that's still really interesting is Jordan Montgomery versus a Pittsburgh team that's, not very good. Decent chance of that win. Not that you need the 4 points, but you'll take it. The quality start on FanDuel. Where do you have Jordan Montgomery? Because I currently have Montgomery ahead of Bassett. Is that correct or is that wrong?
I kind of think that is wrong just because of the fact because I think Bassett can have a bounce back game here. But also depends on like what site we're talking about. I feel like here too, like where it's on DraftKings where their prices are a little bit closer. I'm still probably gonna go with Bassett because he's cheaper. But on FanDuel, I believe Jordan Montgomery's still more than Bassett. So probably have Bassett in both just because of that in the matchup against Detroit with all those guys that strike out at a high rate. But Jordan Montgomery does strike out righties really, really, really well here. Doesn't give that much fly balls. Does have a little bit of hard contact to worry about, but not really a lot of guys in this lineup that do. A lot of guys in the lineup here that does have that have like high ISOs here. Like besides like three of the guys, which is McCutcheon. Do we have one for Pittsburgh yet? Let me.
I'm checking right now. Yeah, it just came out. Hayes, McCutcheon, Santana, Choi, Joe, Castro, Matthias, Bay, and DeLay. Sure. Yeah, I think that's our projected lineup too, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's nothing changing. Obviously, O'Neill Cruz out for like 4 months. Big bummer. Significantly weakens this lineup.
Yeah, I still definitely then rank Montgomery probably third. Because I could see Pittsburgh doing a little damage here to Montgomery. I could definitely see that happening. So the ISOs still doesn't change. They're not that high. Like I said, three guys with like over 200 ISO or more, but the strikeout rates are still pretty high, like low when it comes to like Hayes, Santana, Joe, and Castro here. So and then the walk rates is too. So I'm going to probably go with him being the third pitcher that you want to have here on both sites, honestly. But like to me, like with the price point of him on FanDuel, I might not even consider him because he's just. I mean, you can play him, yes, because anything can happen. But Bassett is just too cheap. He's 7.3, so like that's a huge discount compared to like a guy like Lodolo, who's pretty much just a pit, like a little bit less than Jordan Montgomery.
If you think Bassett is, who Toronto thought they were buying, then it's a fabulous price, right? It's an awesome play.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sure. That's the thing. You have to I guess it comes down to do you believe in Bassett or not? That's really what it boils down to. And I kind of going on the side right now where, like I said, looking at everything and how it played out, I like Bassett more than I do like Montgomery just because of the matchup and because Bassett's last start wasn't that terrible. So I'll take my chances.
Anybody else here we're messing with, right? We got Nick Martinez, Falter. Falter versus Cincinnati team. It's not great, but the ballpark's not great. And Falter is not great. Turnbull, he came back from Tommy John surgery, and good for him. Like, honestly, it was a long way back for him, but he's just been putrid. Just terrible so far. And Toronto is not a safe landing spot. Like, I think we're going to talk bats in a second, obviously. I'm much more on the Toronto side. I think the field is as well. Vinny Velasquez, that's a no-go as well for me against St. Louis. Do we mess with any of this? I'm not. Even if you're running like 150, I would not get to Turnbull. I would not get to Velasquez. This pitcher's 4K for the guy that Ray. I don't think that's necessary is sort of my first thought because what I saw him looked pretty unspectacular. And I don't know how deep he's going to go. We went 3-4 in his 2 minor league starts. Taking on San Diego.
Yeah, so me, I don't think there's anyone else I really want to get to at all. I have like 1, 2, 3. I have 5 pitchers in my player pool playing on DK tonight. So I'm not really getting any different outside of those. But I also want to let everyone know we're about 15 minutes away from this giveaway. So like, just make sure you're pressing that like button and getting in, because we're going to be giving away a free week of RG Premium.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe you haven't seen this. We those who forward the Discord, and I meant to mention it earlier. Thank you for pointing it out. Because I mentioned it to producer Steve before the show started. I promised a couple days ago we're going to give away an RG Premium, and I wanted to pay that off for sure. Jump in the RotoGrinders Discord account, rotogrinders.com/Discord. You go in the live stream chat channel, and producer Steve, what kind of gimmick do we have here today? We hitting a button? What are we doing, Steve? What's the rules today? Is Steve with me? Well, let me see. I'm trying to find it right now. My apologies. I should have been prepared for this.
We're hitting the thumbs up on my message in the Discord. We're going to do a spin wheel.
Yeah, and there are premium channels as far as Discord channels for premium members. There are non-premium channels. Of course, this would be a non-premium channel. That'd be kind of cruel to run the contest in the premium channel. That would not be right. So yeah, anybody can jump in. All you need is like a regular RotoGrinders, like standard account. Doesn't have to be any sort of paid account. Just jump in there, hit the thumbs up, and your name's going to appear on the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel in about 10-ish minutes or so. Give away a week free of RG Premium. So it's not just for baseball. It's for baseball, sure. And you get the optimizer, you get Cheese's article, you get all the goods, the rankings, anything you can think of, the stack articles. But every sport, basketball is still going on. Obviously, MMA, golf, everything but the NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. Let's just pretend NASCAR is not a sport, and we can just say every sport. How about that? There you go. I hate just putting the qualifier on it, but yeah, you don't get NASCAR. That's its own little entity. But yeah, drop the thumbs up in the Discord channel. You win yourself 1 week free of RG Premium. Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. All right. Tell me some of your favorite stacks tonight.
This is really tough. I really want to like the Yankees a lot, but I have a feeling they're going to be popular. So I'm going to probably say not the Yankees a lot, but I really do like Cincinnati. Cincinnati's someone that I'm going to be getting to a good amount here. And one other one that obviously, like, we know Toronto is going to be popular. St. Louis, I like those two as well. I look for like low owned stacks I could get that I could use to take advantage of the field. So I'm going to play. I think Minnesota is someone I'm going to try to be a little bit high on too as well today. And I don't even mind a little bit Detroit just to go opposite of Bassett just in case, but I'm not really going to be that high on them.
Yeah, that is my get goofy, get weird lineup. Is I'm going to play the Detroit lineup just in case that Bassett's just vulnerable these days for whatever reason. The walks are too much so far this year. The strikeouts are down. The velocity's down. Those Detroit guys, they do get paid. They're still professional hitters, right? There's some prospects over there. There's some power. It's a good ballpark to hit in. They're locked in for 9 innings. And, it's hard to be lost on a 5-game slate, just 10 teams, right, as far as stacking. But I think Detroit's going to go mostly neglected, especially when, like you said, like we talked about, Bassett's going to get a ton of ownership. So I know it's used incorrectly a lot, but I feel like, you tell me, Andre, is this the correct way of using the term leverage? Is that a leverage play? Is that a leverage stack? Detroit versus Bassett? That
is, Dean. That is definitely a leverage play.
Okay.
We'll be leveraging them today.
Yeah. Toronto, by the way, number 1 as far as our top stacks. When you look at our consensus value rankings, myself, Mr. Tuttle, Justin Carlucci, and Keith Eister, we did the rankings for our consensus rankings. Yankees number 2, St. Louis number 3. I had St. Louis number 2 for what it's worth. San Diego 3, Cincinnati 4, Milwaukee 5, and Minnesota 6. That's all the ones that got at least a nomination. We all nominate 1 through 5. So this is like a silly question. I didn't nominate Cincinnati. I just don't know how to make that stack. I know you just okay, let's just click 1 through 5 and move on. But yeah, I guess that's what you do, right? I'm just supposed to not ask too many questions and just play India and Steer and Stevenson, Myers, maybe somebody else. I can't play Kevin Newman. I just can't do that. I'm not clicking that button. Maybe, but probably not.
Why can't you?
He's terrible. I know, that's such a dumb answer for baseball. Just goofy stuff happens all the time. But what is Kevin Newman's ISO? I care about homers, right? What's his ability to hit a home run? I feel like he hit one earlier this year, and good for him. But his ISO is 60. Am I reading this right? In 116 games.
Oh God, his ISO is less than his ISO is 93.
93. Okay.
So
Jeez.
yeah, I mean, I'm not, but to me, if he can get a hit and just get on base, I can turn or maybe get a double. Those points matter too, Dean. Not just hitting the home runs all the time.
Yeah, and he's a contact hitter, right? I
Yeah,
think he
so
is. Yeah.
yeah, so to me, that's a great part of having your stack because if he makes contact, gets on base, and then the next guy behind him or a couple guys behind him hit a home run, there you go. You have a nice little stack there.
Falter versus righty specifically, a lot of power, 228 ISO the last two since dating back to last season. The WOBA 348, that's too high as well. Pretty good against lefties. Not many lefties in this lineup though, right? I think it's 0. Yes, it is
Nope.
0. He's
No
facing
lefties.
9 righties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, I'm not playing Falter. Like, right, I don't care. If you're standing on the right side of the plate, I don't care who you are. I don't like I don't like Falter. It's facing 9 of those guys. And the K rate down to 19%. He's a contact guy for what it's worth.
Yeah. The only thing that like obviously with weather edge and showing that it's not gonna be a lot of home runs, but the ERA should be pretty high. So I'm gonna just and the strikeouts are up. So I mean, you kind of have to worry about it a little bit, but I still think that they can still get to him since he's not that great of pitchers against the righty. So I think they make a good contrarian stack, or even if you want to use him as a secondary.
The only thing really popping, you mentioned a Ross Weather Edge tool. The only thing popping is the Yankees. They get the fire emoji, 25% bump in homers, 85 previous games with similar weather. St. Louis, neutral, 171 games, basically neutral. The ballpark plays really fair for pitchers and for hitters. Not a great hitting ballpark, not terrible, not the worst. And I like the Cardinals, just because I want to pick on Velasquez, and the Cardinals actually have a really, really good lineup. They're probably my second favorite stack behind Toronto. I don't know if you mentioned kind of honed in on Toronto, but yeah, I mean Turnbull's just been not good. The total, as far as the team total for the Toronto side, is pushing 6, 5.86 if you want to get technical. 5.41 for St. Louis, I believe that's second on the board. Yankees not at 5, but at 4.79, and I feel like that's like respect to Ryan. I think because the ballpark's really good. Who else should we talk about? Talk about St. Louis. How would you stack up St. Louis?
I mean, hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get to St. Louis actually because I'm actually running a lot of the lineups right now. But I think St. Louis actually is obviously a pretty good stack today that you can have going against Velasquez here. Not that high of a strikeout compared to the other guys that we have. He strikes out righties a lot worse than he does lefties, and obviously these guys here, they have a lot of power and they don't strike out that much except for some parts of the lineup here. So St. Louis overall is a great team to target and be with and be and have, and I'm going to try to get a lot of them today, but then like I said, everything just falls back to maybe I'm relying on weather. It's a little bit too much here, but I know it's plus with the run plus 1.2 for total runs, so that's promising. Don't need the home runs there, so if they could just keep hitting the ball and putting it in play and get on bases, I think that they could obviously have a chance to be the top stack. So I'm going to play a lot. I'm going to play a decent amount of them, but trying to figure out how do I want to do it. I kind of leaning more towards definitely be playing him as a main stack, but I don't know if I want to use him mainly as a secondary stack and try to get more exposure to like I said, some of these other teams like New York, who I keep going back and forth with in my head as far as being a main stack on my team here. And like I said, using St. Louis as a secondary, just because I want like you said, that ballpark upside in the weather.
How do you avoid being too chalky? You're talking about playing Lodolo. You're talking about playing Bassett. Maybe get some Montgomery. And then we're talking about the Yankees, maybe St. Louis, Toronto. Well, what's the way to be different to do that? Maybe have a different three-man, run three-man like a secondary team. Maybe, shuffle the 5 guys. It's not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but, backload it to some degree. What's the plan with that?
I'll play like the back half of the lineups, or play mainly maybe one guy from the front half or two guys from the front half and the rest from the back half. I like doing things like that because that no one else is going to be doing, or guys that, or because people tend to play more so the front half of the lines because obviously you got more chance to be at bat. So I'm gonna so I don't mind taking a guy who's in a 9 hole here, or in an 8, or in this 8 spot there that's gonna get maybe 3 possible and hopefully 4 attempts, which you should typically get in the game. And if they get a home run or two and they're low owned, that's going to be perfect here. So that's why I like to try to do a mix up, and I like doing that on like even with my primary stacks too as well. So like if I'm looking at, like, for instance, when we're talking about like St. Louis here, I'm going by the bat. Well, we don't have it pulled up on the screen share, but I know I have like the bat projections as far as the ownership here. Like I would just be taking a look at these guys here and saying, like, all right, I know who's getting a lot of ownership here, but I'll go with like Goodrum, who's batting number 6 in the 6 hole here. Donovan also, who's batting in the one spot there, and just try to build around those two guys. I know they're low owned, and see which way do I want to go from there, as well as also getting some of these Yankees or other guys that I like that are not that high in ownership, and just be a little bit different. And I think even tonight, going with your second pitcher, especially on a site like DraftKings, it's going to make everything a little bit different.
You got 1 minute to enter the 1 minute warning. Again, jump on our RotoGrinders Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel. Just drop a thumbs up, and producer Steve will pull your name and get yourself eligible and throw you up in the big spinning wheel. You got to do it quickly, though, because we're going to cut it off shortly because the Crunch Time crew coming in about 15 minutes or so. You got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, you got Will, and you have TJ Zwarych as well. Do you use the Slate IQ, like team stacking tool? Is that something you look at? Is that something you dig into as far as, the total ownership and like the chances to win, the chances versus the field, the difference, the leverage? That's something that you like to use. It's kind of interesting to look at to see like what it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that actually I like a lot. Like I actually used it yesterday, a little bit, because I was noticing when I was building, I was like, shout out to Cardi and everything, Cardi with the bat projections, but I wasn't getting a lot of Tampa Bay. I was not. No matter how much I kept trying to get Tampa Bay, I wasn't getting Tampa Bay. So I ended up just pretty much like trying to looking at it and realizing that they're like what like that, not that high to win from when I was looking at it yesterday. And I said, okay, I'm trying to use them, and I ended up did use them. Granted, they weren't the highest. I don't think they were in the winning lineup, but I think that that tool definitely helps out for sure a lot, and it gets you on the right track, and also to figure out also what teams to kind of avoid and how to get different. Like, and what's your, like you said, the leverage spots. Like even now with the top stack tool here showing us here, the team I was talking about a lot that I really like a lot today is going to be a good amount of leverage here. So, we get the spinning wheel.
Producer Steve, what's up? Welcome to the show. We have some names. We're going to give it a spin. Winner gets 1 week free of RG Premium. Drum roll.
All right, ready, guys? Here we go.
Give it a spin. Give it a whirl.
Wheel. It's going to land on the color red.
I got green. What? Green.
Let's go. One more.
We're both wrong. Wait.
Let's go.
Oh. Score.
Shout out to Scorekeeper. Scorekeeper 80. Well, is producer Devin lurking? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll shoot you a message in Discord and get it all set up for you.
All right, sweet. Congratulations. We'll do this again soon enough. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Stay tuned. But there you go. Get yourself 1 week free of RG Premium. Again, that's not just for baseball. You get all the goods. Have at it. Optimizer, all the articles, all the videos. Some questions in chat. There's Devin. He's on top of it. What's up, Devin? He's going to take care of Scorekeeper. Congratulations once again. Nathan's got a question. Better stack Blue Jays or Cardinals? Those are two of the more popular ones, two of the better ones, just as far as like most likely to succeed. But ownership's going to be there as well. Do you have a preference as far as Toronto versus St. Louis?
They're both are pretty much the same. I'm probably going to say I'm going to like Toronto just because Turnbull has not been that great. So, question: how do you feel about the Padres?
I think we might see a situation where, people love their instant gratification, right? And we always, I don't want to say always, but we tend to see the Dodgers kind of get under-owned, unless they're like in cores. You're not going to ignore them, obviously, but their lineups come out later. The Padres lineup, we don't have it just yet. There's a pitching change going on. The dude they're throwing out there right now is not a prospect. He's in his 30s and not a great pedigree. I think they're going to be under-owned. And also what I'm seeing is, according to the team stacking, the leverage here, they have the best leverage stack. If you trust our tool here in the Slate IQ, and I don't know if that's the reason why you're asking it, but I'm going to make a San Diego stack for sure. They're popping as the best leverage team. Luke and Chat saying lineup just came out. Thank you. Let's see what the lineup happens to be.
Wow. Yeah, and the bat loves the Padres now.
Grisham, Machado, Soto. But Soto, by the way, is crazy cheap on FanDuel. If you guys are playing cash games, Soto's got to be in your cash lineup. Probably on DK as well. Bogarts. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that might change now. I think now that we have the lineup, maybe the ownership changes on them, because there's no way they can't there's no way I can just see them just not being owned today.
Are you surprised that Carpenter's not playing? It's Nelly Cruz versus the righty.
That I am kind of surprised about, but it's not going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter a lot.
Grisham, Machado, Soto, Bogarts, Nelly Cruz, Cronenworth, Kim, Odor, and Nola doing the catching. The new starter is also a righty, right? Because the other starter was a righty. This guy, Ray, I think we talked about it pre-show. I think he's a righty. Yes?
Oh. Well, Patrick, first of all, sorry, I was reading the comments in chat. I'm not Chief, my guy.
Chief will be on in 10 or 15 minutes. But there you go.
But
unless he's just calling you Chief, which is hey Chief, or big guy or whatever. Unless he's doing that.
Yeah, unless he's doing that, which now he probably could have spent it that way, but that's what it sounded like. He was just calling me Chief. But shout out to my guy
boss.
Will. Go ahead. I think the Padres might pick up ownership here. We have about an hour to lock. They should pick up some ownership.
So do we have every lineup? I think we do, right?
I think we do.
No Milwaukee. We're still waiting on Milwaukee.
No Milwaukee, yeah.
Jesse Winker is nursing an injury, so he might not play. So maybe they're waiting on that. Not sure. But just be aware of that if you're playing Winker. He may not give it a go, but otherwise, I assume there's no issues going on in Milwaukee. I don't think they're waiting on anybody as far as the IL, unless I missed something. But we got everything else out as far as the lineups. Home runs. Who's going to bang one out here? You want to be bold? Do you want to be ambitious? You want to give a homer call? I know Spidey has been hot for TJ. I'm not sure where we're at with likes, but hit those likes so TJ can knock out his homer calls once he jumps on. Not sure where we're at, but yeah, hit the like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Help us out to beat the old algorithm. Who's going to homer today? What do you got for me?
I definitely like Rizzo to go yard in Yankee Stadium. I also low key, kind of like Will Myers to go yard too here.
I was looking at the Cincinnati Reds, the power righties for the Reds. It's I was just staring at against Falter. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I like Rizzo, Myers, and I'll give out one more. I'm going from the Padres. Let's see who I like. Soto's easy. I don't want to say Soto, but I think he definitely is going to hit one. He's a lefty, yeah, Soto as well.
All right,
and I like Franchi as well from the Yankees.
Yeah, he's been good so far. A late signing, and he's shown power. In the last 2 years versus right-handers, the ISO was popping pretty good. You pulled it up in the plate IQ. Yeah, 221, really solid. I don't necessarily want to pick on Joe Ryan, but I don't mind that either. You know what's interesting? I was looking at Toronto today. Kind of surprising. I know they're a good lineup. I know Dalton Varsho is a good hitter. But did you know Dalton Varsho versus righties is the team's top ISO player in the last 2 years? Biggest isolated power? Dalton Varsho. Vladdy second. Chapman. No. Chapman barely has Vladdy. It's close, though. Top 5, though, all at power versus righties. Obviously Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, Varsho, Chapman looks like a really, really good stack. Also, it's kind of sort of somewhat super obvious, and it's pretty expensive as well. Brandon Belt's been terrible this year. Can he turn it around? I don't know. Like once upon a time, he was a really good hitter, but yeesh. I guess he's got 2 doubles in his last game. I know he started the season just like striking out versus everybody, but I guess they're going to give him a bit of a leash there. Merrifield fell off last season, and Cavan Biggio just was sort of he was fun when he started and then fell off pretty quickly. I think he was dealing with injuries. Obviously, some pedigree. People got excited about him because the whole theme of the team, right? You got Guerrero's kid, Dante Bichette's kid, Craig Biggio's kid. I think Jeff Conine's kid is in the organization, or he was at one point. I'm not sure if he still is. But, fun team, these Blue Jays. Luke in the chat talking about how warm it is in New York. Yes, that's been kind of the theme of this show as well. New York looks good for homers for sure. Let's see. Peter's saying you can't play Padres when it's 53 degrees out with winds blowing out to center. Well, per Weather Edge. Okay, you're quoting Weather Edge. That's important. What's the sample size? It's like 5 games, right? I think that's what it was.
6 games, not a lot of games.
Okay. Yeah.
Like to me, the leverage with that is that the pitching is not that great. The pitchers, they're not that great. So even if they don't hit home runs and what if they get a lot of hits and just get it on baseline and other teams fail? And if the Yankee game fails, like we've seen one thing about I love the Yankees. They're my favorite team. The Yankees have been in this spot so many times where they have good weather, either against good pitchers and bad pitchers, and the score is just so low.
This is your team, right? So it's kind of a love-hate thing for you?
It's a love-hate thing. So it's kind of hard to just say, oh, yeah, let me be all in the Yankees. Because I would love to be all in the Yankees, especially today. But Joe Ryan's a good pitcher, and I think it could still go way left, and that game could go vastly under.
I want to ask Roth when he comes on. Peter's still talking about. He says a 5-game sample is fine. I think that's an outrageous thought. I want at least 50 personally. I'm curious what Roth wants. I imagine Roth will not approve of a 5-game sample. Like obviously, if it was like 90 degrees and the wind's blowing out 30 miles per hour, you only need a 5-game sample. Like that's good, right?
Yeah.
Luke, we like Joe Ryan. We like him. It's kind of that which makes it kind of tricky.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a catch-22 here. So it's hard to I really want to play that game, but it's kind of hard with the way the pitching is set up.
We got Roth. We mentioned his name. His ears start ringing. Roth in the chat. Somebody's saying in chat that a 5-game sample on Weather Edge is fine. I think that's wrong, but I'm yielding to you. This is your weather tool. I need more than 5 personally. Can you tell me what's the right number? What's the magic number?
Here's what I do, and this is definitely not what you should do, but if the data matches up with what common sense says, like if it's a 5-game sample size, but the winds are blowing out and it's hot and it shows good hitting weather, then it's good hitting weather. If the winds are blowing in and it's cold and it's a 5-game sample size and it shows good hitting weather, it's not. Like, I feel like, is that bad to look at data that way, Dean?
Well, kind of, I think. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, though, but here's to your point, though. Right, it's a 5-game sample in San Diego. I'm not sure if you have Weather Edge up or not. In 6 games, 52% decrease in homers, which is like 2 home runs, right?
Okay, yeah.
And a 41% decrease in runs. Like that, those are huge numbers. But again, it's one home run moved that number so much that it's kind of worthless. Now, is 53 degrees good in San Diego with 8 miles per hour winds? I don't know if it's good or not. You tell me.
No, it's
probably.
not. I think the general idea is right. It's not great hitting weather, but to think that those numbers are actually representative, I don't think so. It's not good. Yeah,
we got Chiefs here now, as well as TJ. TJ super excited. But where are we at as far as the Spidey bombs? Because I want to get my homer out before Spidey wakes up. I didn't fire off my homers, but I did want to say that Edward Julian, the best Canadian prospect since Joey Votto, is going to hit a homer today. And
Julian.
Julian, potato. Is how
Edouard Julien.
Is he from Quebec?
Yes.
I assume.
Julien, of course, he's from Quebec.
All right. Jeez, nice to see you as well, TJ.
That's what I did to Dean this morning when I saw the Minnesota lineup after he was called is this guy a prospect? I don't know if I've never heard of him before, and he's a top 100 prospect in baseball and on Canada's World Baseball Classic team. I gave him a hard time, then I messaged him this morning. Who's leading off for the Twins today, Dean? Who's batting leadoff in his second MLB game?
Heidi. Is Julien? Am I saying that correctly? My French wasn't. I took Spanish. Yeah, I'm trying. I apologize. Andre, got anything else for the boys before we yield to crunch time?
Well, I want to get chat real quick. How do y'all feel about this New York game? Like, especially you, Roth. Like, would you play it or would you not play it?
As far as just hitting weather, and I have no idea how good the bats are, how good the pitchers are, but it's definitely the best hitting weather on the slate. So I like it.
Is this
you
the
thinking
first
about
Chief TJ? What do you think?
Currently, the Yankees are my third highest owned stack, and Minnesota is my fourth highest owned stack. But I'm playing 0% Joe Ryan today because, he could get some Ks and be good, but it's 90 degrees outside and he's a fly ball pitcher, so I'm not trying to mess around with that.
Roth, confirm or deny? Is this the first fire emoji we've seen this year on Weather Edge? I feel like it is, unless I missed one.
Come on. Oh, the first fire emoji.
Fire emoji.
Probably. You're just thinking about the weather in general. Probably. You got to hit like 89 degrees, I think, brings fire emoji. Which is dumb. I should have made it 90.
Right? It's a dew point, wind, temperature trifecta, I believe, or you tell me. Or is that, am I wrong saying that?
No, that's my hitter's trifecta, which is a completely different thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I did not George Costanza. We did not go out on a high note, but I am going to leave. Myself and Andre do enjoy you guys. Appreciate you guys jumping in on the first portion of the show. We have Will, we have TJ, we have Roth taking y'all home straight up the lock. Go Heat. That was Andre. I was Dean. This is Roth. Go Roth.
Good stuff, as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed Crunch Time. It is sponsored by Fanduel, and it is the show with two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got one, Mr. TJ Zwarych. Zwarych?
Close. Rich. We're getting rich on the show, you know?
Is it Zwarych? Zwarych.
Yes.
Zwarych. Nailed it. I will never screw it up again. Yes, I will. What up, TJ? How are you, man?
I was gonna hold you to that. Yeah. Doing well. Ready to talk some baseball. I just finished my Agents of Fandom stream where we were talking The Mandalorian about 8 minutes ago, and so now I am ready to dive into some baseball. Not doing my full 150 lineups today, just running 50, taking it easy, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's a fun little site. I'm excited.
Okay, very good. And then we got Chief as well. I can't tell if he's frozen or just stoic, but I think he's moving now. What up, Chief? How are you?
I'm good, man. Glad to come on, talk a little shop. So let's ride.
Hey, can I talk personal drama real quick? This has nothing to do with baseball.
Sure.
Of course.
I need some help because it is my 5-year anniversary tonight, and I am violently ill. Do I still, put in the work tonight, or do I just tap out and say, like, nah, I'm not feeling it?
I would do the second one if it's me.
You think?
I think honesty is best. You plan another night so that when you're feeling better, you can give it your all and
give 100% performance.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. But I don't want this coming back. I don't want this coming back.
Sometimes you need some load management.
We got in the chat. We got power through. It's a family show. There's some advice that we shouldn't get to. Chief, what is your take? You're a married man, right?
What my take is this. I say go through with it. The reward. Listen, the reward you'll get later be way better than today.
See, yeah, I think I got to do it, and I've never been less excited, but I think I'm gonna go for it. I'll give you guys a report tomorrow how it goes. All right, I'm glad we discussed that. I needed some guidance. I think I'm like 90% in.
Tune into Crunch Time tomorrow for a detailed report on what Roth was up to tonight.
Yeah, we'll let you know how it goes.
You have been crunched.
Yes, yeah. All right, let's dive into this slate a little bit, guys. We mentioned the hitting weather here. San Diego's my least favorite spot for bats. It also could mist a little bit. And then my favorite spot for bats is New York. Both of those things were already discussed. So let's kind of get into it. TJ, are you want to lead us off with the overview here?
Yeah, let's do it. So pitching today is fairly straightforward. Sorry, apology. Oh, I guess I should probably I can be the one who pops up a screen share here.
Get
So
that
I'll pull it
screen
up
share
on my thing. So while I set that up, Chief, what are your general thoughts on the slate?
Well, I think my general thoughts right off the bat is just I thought New York was actually going to have a lot more ownership, at least projected, on DraftKings, and they actually don't have nearly as much ownership as a whole as that I thought they were going to have, unless I've missed an update or something. I don't think I have. It looks like Toronto is garnering tons, along with the Cardinals, which I understand because they're facing Vince Velasquez, and just probably more so because of overall pricing for their teams. But I was really shocked the Yankees and the Twins didn't have more ownership. I'm very interested in the Twins today, for what it's worth, in the same hidden environment, with a lot less ownership, I guess, than Toronto. When I started out this slate, I actually thought I was going to be more into Toronto because I thought the ownership was going to be in New York, but that's not the case unless I'm really missing something. I don't think I am. So I'm going to be heavily invested in the Twins for what it's worth.
Okay. All right, TJ, you want to kind of walk us through your overall thoughts, and then let's get into pitcher as well. Oh, TJ, you're muted. Yeah, you get the mute.
I hate it when I do that.
It's so frustrating when it happens.
I feel like such an idiot. Anyways, we have the Blue Jays and the Cardinals in a vacuum, the two best baseball matchups, two best hitting matchups. And then obviously we have the Yankees and Minnesota in New York, of all places, where it's 90 degrees right now and winds blowing out. And so the pitch, there's potentially some pitching in that game that we're interested in, but that does kind of feel like the spot that's going to win the slate tonight. Like, either you stack against Joe Ryan, who's a pretty good pitcher, and you play the Minnesota side, and that game follows, people are hitting the ball in the air and it's just carrying them out of the park and it goes crazy. Or maybe you're pitching Joe Ryan and the Yankees are striking out all the time and just not hitting the ball, so they can't get it in the air to hit those home runs, and you win the slate that way. So this does really feel like a game that is going to dictate the slate. From a bat standpoint, the only two teams I'm really ignoring today are Pittsburgh and Philly. Everybody else I'm getting to at least a little bit. And the reason why I'm not getting Philly at all is pivoting over to the pitching position. Currently on DraftKings, I have Nick Lodolo in 100% of my lineups. Just flat old lock button for him. I think on FanDuel, obviously, Bassett's wildly cheap. He's just looked so bad. He's getting barreled. He's walking guys. His velocity is down. He's by far the best point per dollar projection. He's close to Lodolo is in raw points projection because he's been a great pitcher in the past, but he's looked so bad to start the year, and it's not like it's just a BABIP thing. There are actually causes for it. Like, his velocity's down, his control has been bad. And so in theory, you'd want to go, well, I want to wait and see on this guy before I go off. But this is a 9K pitcher, or at least normally a 9K pitcher, facing the worst offense in baseball. And the Tigers are at least the highest strikeout offense. So Bassett worries me with that chalk on FanDuel. I would probably try and get underweight there. And then and try and bump up my exposure to a guy like Lodolo. But I really don't know if I would play anybody outside of Bassett, Montgomery, and Lodolo over there on DraftKings, on FanDuel. And then even on DraftKings, currently I have 4 pitchers in my pool. I lock button Lodolo, and then Montgomery, Bassett, Brito are my potential SB2s. And I kind of liked Brito, but just the fact that he's in that same game, that same New York game. Well, if my logic on not wanting to use Joe Ryan was the fly ball stuff, I probably shouldn't be going to much Brito either. So that's somebody I'm just kind of sprinkling in. And then Lodolo is my priority one. He's in 100% of my lineups on DraftKings. Montgomery is in 60 or 70%. And then Bassett's in most of the rest, other than a couple of Brito teams.
Okay, very good. Chief, let's talk pitchers. What is your approach, and do you have that same condensed pool? I guess TJ only mentioned 3 guys on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm pretty much lock button Lodolo. I'm not even really worried about anybody else. I think he's the best pitcher on the slate currently. I think he's got the most upside. And if he fails, he just fails today. Like I'm fine with it. That's but if he's the one guy in my opinion that could, and I do think, let me say this, I do think Joe Ryan is going to be fine today for what it's worth. That also doesn't mean the Yankees won't score any runs. So Joe Ryan could be out there for 5 innings and throw some shutout ball, 7 strikeouts, which may or may not be enough to help you win a GPP. And then the bullpen comes in and the Yankees score 8 runs. Like it's very possible. So, but either way, I think Lodolo's the best bang for your buck. If you're looking at this year's numbers, Philly's been striking out a fair amount this season already. So I kind of start trying to adjust early, especially when teams are struggling in the strikeout department, because I don't know when they're going to stop striking out. And so I just want to keep taking advantage of it as much as I can. So that's why Lodolo's at the top of my list. So yeah, that's where I'm at with pitcher. And then on DraftKings, on FanDuel, on DraftKings, it's the same scenario. I'm going to hit the lock button on Lodolo. And then from there, just cycling Ryan, cycle a little bit of Nick Martinez. The Brewers have been striking out a ton as well. So I want to, try to get a piece of him. Also good pitching weather out there. I'm not playing Bassett, not playing Turnbull. I'm pretty much just going to cycle through with Ryan, Martinez, and let that be it. Like, I really don't trust the rest of these guys a ton.
Okay, very good. I do want to remind everyone that this show is sponsored by FanDuel. Make sure you sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their tremendous bonus offer. New customers bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions do apply for that. Let's talk about some of these stacks. And Chief, I will let you guide us through that.
Cool. So one of my first stacks on the day, I think I talked about it already, it's the Twins. They're cheap enough pretty much across the board. I'm not saying they're the best offense, on this slate today, but I think because of the conditions, Johnny Brito on the other side probably going to pick up some strikeouts, but I still think I think the Twins have enough to get the job done here on this slate today. So I like them a great deal. Like I said, they're not really getting a whole lot of ownership. I am going to have some Blue Jays, obviously. I'm going to have a few Reds. I don't really have and this is probably interesting, I don't really have a top stack where I feel like anybody's going completely bonkers. I'm just trying to get a little leverage on the field with the Twins, who are in this weather game, so to speak, with all the conditions seem to be leaning in a favorable fashion for us, and they're not getting any ownership. So I'm playing the weather angle, the ownership angle. Also, because I'm playing a lot of Lodolo, they're a pretty cheap team to stack. So that I'm just making them kind of a primary stack, and I'll build everybody else around them. But I don't like really any one team so much above the next team today. I'm really just kind of playing that angle, and I'm going to let it play out that way. But if I had to just pick teams, Twins would be 1, Blue Jays 2, probably Reds 3.
Okay, very good. TJ, you want to walk me through some of your stacks and maybe, tell me how much exposure you have to all these teams, or if there's certain teams you're not touching at all.
So the one team I'm currently trying to get more exposure to is actually the Detroit Tigers, just in case Chris Bassett is absolutely terrible again. He's just not himself. I don't mind taking some shots on this Tiger team today. In my recent build that just went, I only had 1 Tiger stack in the entire set, and so I'm not comfortable with that because Bassett has been so terrible. So I'm going to try and run a new one right now with hopefully get some more Tigers. But as it stands right now, I got about 30% Cardinals. They're my highest owned stack today. Then the Blue Jays and Yankees are both at 20%, and the Twins and Reds are next behind them with just the small amounts of Milwaukee, San Diego, and Detroit. I kind of want to get rid of those small amounts of, not completely get rid of them, but lower my San Diego and Milwaukee so that I can up the level to Detroit that I have right now. In this new recent one, it just limited Cincinnati as opposed to these other teams. So I think I got some work to do to fix it before lock. But I'd kind of rank them for me: 1 St. Louis, 2 Toronto, 3 New York, 4 Minnesota, 5 Cincinnati.
Okay. Very good, gentlemen. We have still oodles of time, 26, 27 minutes. So let's go position by position. TJ, I know you're tinkering there, but let's start at catcher and we'll go around the horn.
Sure. At catcher today, the guy that I'm going to be playing the most of is Tyler Stevenson. Like on Fanduel, I don't think you really have to play too many catchers outside of like a Stevenson, a Kirk, or a Contreras in your stack. Somebody like Real Muto is picking up a decent ownership today, going up against Lodolo. That's not going to be for me. The only guy I think I have listed in the entire catching pool that I would consider playing not in a stack today is going to be Tyler Stevenson. Everybody else is only in stacks for me.
Very good. Chief?
I mean, catcher's it's an interesting position. Everybody's just going to be built around the stack. You know, if I'm playing the Blue Jays, I'm probably going to get Kirk. If I'm playing the Twins, I'll have Vasquez, so forth and so on. Like that's pretty much how I'm rolling.
Okay, take me to first base then.
First base, I do really like Vlad today for what it's worth. 5,700. I think everybody's going to like Vlad. So you know, not really a secret there. I think he should have a pretty good day at the plate. I'm not saying he's going to hit a home run, but I definitely think he's got a shot at some RBI potential and for a couple guys to bring him home. So I like him a ton. I think a sneaky first baseman is Jake Cronenworth at 4,300. Not in the best hitting weather, but I do expect the Padres to win this game today for what it's worth. So even though he's not in the best spot per se, I think at 4,300, that's pretty good value on this slate. And then, of course, I like the Twins. So I'll have some Donovan Solano. He's very cheap at 2,400.
Very good. TJ, walk me through your thoughts at first, sir.
So Paul Goldschmidt is going to be the chalk. He's going to be the optimal play if you're playing cash games. Vince Velasquez has just been so horrifically terrible this entire season so far, and he's never been good. And so he just keeps getting worse, and so we want to be stacking against him. Goldschmidt's your cash game guy, or if you need to go down in price, somebody like Tellez is pretty good too. For what it's worth, we're 15 likes away from our Spidey Bomb. So let's hit that like button. Spidey Bomb has been hot. Let's mash that like button so we can give it away here quick as well. And so to me, outside of like, obviously you can always include guys in your stacks. It's really just the position where you're playing Goldschmidt, Guerrero, Rizzo, or Tellez. That's about it.
Very good. Take me to second base.
Second base position, Nolan Gorman is going to be the stud. Like for cash today, you're basically just going to hear me say play a St. Louis player at almost all of the positions. Gorman is the top play here. India is in a great spot as well against the lefty and Falter. Donovan is fine, but if I am choosing one, I'm picking Gorman over Donovan. I do like Gleyber Torres for tournaments, but my favorite tournament play is probably the minimum price on both sites, Edouard Julien, who we talked about.
Excellently pronounced, and we would expect nothing less, of course. Chief, what are you doing at second?
Yeah, man. I mean, no secret there. Mr. 2K Julian, gotta get him in there. I'm probably going to go down to the bottom of this Toronto stat and take some Merrifield and Biggio as well. I don't think we'll see a whole lot of Biggio because he's at the bottom of the order. But once again, I am expecting Toronto to score runs. Biggio does have a little bit of pop. So, you know, and he is a guy that if he gets on base, he should be coming home with Springer and Bichette and Vlad hitting behind him. So I know a lot of times we think about maybe the one hitter kind of being the guy, but if you've got a good top of the order, the 9 hitter to me sometimes is like he's the best. He has the best chance because if they start rolling and he's on base, most likely he's on his way home. So I really like Biggio a ton, kind of off the board tournament play. Even if he's not in the stack, I still like him today for that very reason. Yeah.
In addition to that, too, when you look at the Jays lineup and you're pitching to Kevin Biggio and you look, oh, damn, I have Springer next, then Bichette, then Vlad Guerrero, then Varsho, and then Chapman.
It's terrible.
Biggio is going to be getting exactly. He's going to be getting some pitches.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, very good. Chief, take me to third base, please.
Take me to church. Third base, hot corner, amen corner. Just kidding. Third is interesting because Chapman to me is really sneaky today. Like when I looked at the numbers don't look great today, but Turnbull's not good. So I think if I'm building Toronto stacks, I definitely want to get in on some Chapman. He feels like a really good play. Jose Miranda's cheap with Minnesota. If I'm building Minnesota stacks, I will probably squeeze him in a couple. If you go to the Cardinals, you've got Arenado here at 5,400. I don't hate that as well. And then of course you got Manny Machado. And I feel like the Padres, and I didn't say this, so I'm sorry, Rob. The Padres to me are like the one-off team today. I don't necessarily want to stack them all the way up, but they've got a couple pieces, Cronenworth, Machado, so that you can just kind of put around your other stacks, because these guys could essentially get to Ray even in bad weather today. Not bad weather, but not as advantageous weather. So I like these guys, the Padres, even though we haven't talked about them in terms of positionally in stacks. I like them as fillers for around these other teams. So like him a ton. Last but not least, I think Nick Senzel is back today. Like if you need a punt at 2K, he's back. He's third base and outfield eligible. Look, I'm not saying Senzel's somebody great, but I do think, Rob, with the new pitch clock, the new rules, if he gets on base, I do think he has a shot at a steal. So I like him as well for really, like if you want to punt third base, which on a small slate, I don't mind it because we don't have as much. 2K, I think Senzel's okay.
Interesting. I feel like we never punt third. I feel like that literally never happens. So but interesting.
5-gamer, just a little different approach. Yep.
Very good. All right, TJ, what are you doing at third?
Both sides, Nolan Arenado will be the chalk and the cash game play. He's definitely the best third baseman play here, especially at $3,700 on FanDuel. Matt Chapman does compare to him on DraftKings as an equally good play. Spencer Steer batting second against Bailey Falter on FanDuel, a very strong play as well. I think kind of my favorite tournament cheap pivot I talked about liking Detroit would be Nick Maton leading off for Detroit against Bassett. But the top three at this position are definitely Arenado, Steer, and Chapman. And then if you look at Chapman's price on FanDuel, like he's $4,500 and Arenado's $3,700. So he's $800 more. Nobody's playing him because of that, because he's not the hitter that Nolan Arenado is. So he's in a phenomenal start. He's been the Blue Jays' best hitter to start the year. And he's sub 5% owned on FanDuel. So playing Chapman on FanDuel where he's $4,500, I think is just a phenomenal tournament play.
Makes a lot of sense. Very good. All right, let's take it to shortstop, TJ.
So short on FanDuel, we have Trey Turner coming in as the chalk against Nick Lodolo. That would be kind of like my biggest fade here for tournaments, a 36% owned guy on FanDuel going up against the best pitcher on the slate by far. Yeah, I'm gonna pass, even though it's a lefty-righty matchup. Bichette here is going to be my favorite. Now, he does come in more expensive than Turner on FanDuel, but both sides, I think Bichette's going to be my favorite. I always really like playing Willy Adames. If you land on Bogarts or Correa, I think that's fine. Like on FanDuel, if I was playing like a cash game or an optimal today, I'd be going with Carlos Correa at $2,700 instead of Trey Turner at $3,500. I think that's the much better play, especially considering this wind. And then if you land on somebody like a Tommy Edman, I think that's totally okay too. And then on DraftKings, where he's shortstop eligible, can't remember if he is on FanDuel. Doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, there he is right there. $2,600 Javi Baez. I think that's a great tournament play as well.
Very good. Okay, Chief, what are you doing at shortstop?
Yeah, definitely Correa for me on FanDuel. I mean, he's $2,700. Like these Twins, man, like they're just so cheap today. So he's big time in play for me on DK. I like Tommy Edman. And you're probably gonna. This isn't a theme, Roth, but I'm playing a lot more bottom of the order today than usual because I just feel like this small slate. How many times have we seen the 6 through 9 hitters just get off and the top of the order just wets the bed and everybody's frustrated?
Yeah. Every time I play the top of the order, that is what happens. So yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So Tommy Edman, 4,300 against
We're
Velasquez.
hoping that doesn't happen to Roth tonight because he's already not feeling well.
We don't want that, yeah.
But yeah, Tommy Edman is actually a favorite play of mine. Typically, a guy that doesn't strike out a ton, and so we're getting some Vince Velasquez today. Edman sitting at a 17% K rate on the season so far, 14% walk rate. He's one of my favorites for that price, kind of as an off the board, off the wall play that I don't think a lot of people are going to get to today.
Very good. Let's go to the outfield. I'm sure despite it being a condensed slate, I'm sure we got plenty of options there.
Yeah, outfield, I'm building that around my stacks are going to be mostly where my outfield plays come from. And you guys kind of know my stacks: Twins, Blue Jays, some Reds, maybe a little bit of St. Louis. But I do want to talk about, again, these Padres guys. Juan Soto in the outfield, 5,600. Not stacking him, but I think he's a great one-off play. Trent Grisham in the outfield, not stacking him, 3,800. Think he's a great one-off play. They've got Nelson Cruz in the lineup tonight. Rougned Odor at 2,100 if you need some salary relief. I probably wouldn't play Odor over, say, Jordan Walker or Tyler O'Neill or one of the cheap guys from the other teams. But if you need the relief, I get it. But Willie Calhoun is out there today if you want him at 2,100. I'm just trying to give you some off-the-board plays because, Judge is obvious. Stanton is obvious. Byron Buxton, those are the obvious plays. But I just want to keep drilling home. I do think these Padres give us great one-off opportunities today.
Chief, do we have the money to just play a Yankee stack? Like you mentioned, these guys are obvious and get the pitcher that we want. Like, shouldn't everyone be doing that?
Yeah, you can get Lodolo and the Yankees pretty easy on DK because I'm assuming you're either going to end up with like Martinez or Montgomery or, maybe even Joe Ryan. The pitching just doesn't – you don't really have two studs that you're pairing together. And then there's enough cheap plays all over the place. Like, even if you like the Yankees, Anthony Volpe or Volpe, he's 2,900. Higashioka catcher, he's 2,700. Frenchie Cordero is 2,800 in the outfield on first base. Oswaldo Cabrera is 26. Willie Calhoun is 21. So unless you're playing Torres, Judge, or Stanton, you're not playing over 5K for any of them. Everybody else is under 3K outside of Rizzo. So you can absolutely get it done very easy.
Okay. Yeah, it's not tough to get done at all. The reason why not too many people is because they're facing the second best pitcher on the slate.
Yeah.
Lodolo
weather be damned. Yeah, like if you can't hit the ball, the weather turns out to be not very relevant.
Yeah, and so
cue up the Cubs game.
Bingo.
And look, that's always my notion, Roth. If they're facing good pitching, they still have to hit the ball.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that's kind of where the question comes in. But what's so interesting about it is that Joe Ryan is a high strikeout pitcher, but also a massive fly ball pitcher. So it's like he could K 12 guys and they might just do nothing, or he could get 4 fly balls that go out in the first inning. And now we got over 100 likes, so it's time for the first Spidey Bomb. Let's bump it up to 150. We got over 400 people watching here now. It's only 250 when we started. We're up over 400 now. Let's hit the like button. We're talking about these Yankees here, and that's where we're going.
We just got news in. I don't mean to interrupt the Spidey Bomb, but Matt Chapman was scratched. Was that not a guy that you were discussing earlier?
Oh my gosh!
Wow, yeah.
It's not like so, Rob. This isn't like the end of the world. Bishop's probably going to move up, though. I would assume.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, TJ, you were like mid-swing on Spidey Bomb there, but I wanted to get that out. So I'm sorry to interrupt your Spidey mojo.
No, I'm glad that you did. That's very important. New Blue Jays lineup: Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Varsho, Kirk. So everybody just moved up one, except for Biggio, actually.
Oh, they kept him at the bottom?
Yeah, he's such a good on base. Like he's a guy that draws walks. So it's exactly like you said. They want him on base. They just added in Espinal in the added in Espinal in the 8 spots, and basically everything else is the same, but everybody else just moved up one. This does make me want to get more Christian Kirk because he's got a better spot in the lineup order now. But back to the Spidey Bomb. We reached 100 likes. Looking at the New York Yankees, Joe Ryan is a 32% K rate pitcher to right-handed batters. The Yankees are putting only 4 lefties in the lineup today, but one of them is Anthony Rizzo. This guy hits fly balls. He barely strikes out, facing a guy that struggles to the left side of the plate. I'm just almost sure that Anthony Rizzo is going to be knocking one out of the park today, and so is Spidey. So Anthony Rizzo, Spidey bomb number 1. Let's get 50 more likes here, and we can get one more Spidey bomb before the end of the show.
Very good. All right, let's real quick get back to the Chapman news. Was he someone that people were playing as a one-off, or was that just a stack play?
Both.
I think, yeah, I was going to say both.
Okay.
So let me talk about my celebration here, Roth, because
please.
I like when guys in the 9 spot that are fairly good hitters. Look, he does K a lot from time to time, but we'll see. I wanted him to stay. I just knew they were going to move him up. And look, he's 2,400. If they moved him up to the 6th spot, then he was going to start garnering way more ownership if people were stacking the Blue Jays. Keeping him in that 9 spot should keep his ownership intact. So I'm very excited. I actually like the Blue Jays a little bit more now because they're actually a little bit more affordable. I could probably run a wraparound with 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like if I'm playing a 5 stack on DK, which I'm not a 5 stack guy, but if you are, you can probably almost wrap it around and have plenty of salary if you need to. Or you could get rid of one of the top 3 and go maybe 9, 1, 3, 5, something like that. And that'll give you a much different build. My earbud fell out, so you're going to see me back up my chair and grab it, and back to regularly scheduled programs.
Okay, so real quick, let's say you were on Chapman. Is there a direct 1v1 pivot? And TJ, I'll let you handle this. Both for cash or like as a one-off, but also within that stack.
Within that stack, you just adjust your team. Like there's not going to be a 1-for-1 you're going to do. On DraftKings, Matt Chapman was 5K and Arenado's 5.4. So if you have the salary, you just go right up to Arenado. If not, you got to adjust something. But in cash, you were probably playing Arenado anyways. And if you're stacking, you're just changing your stack. I do want to talk about outfield quick here. I never talked about that one, but no, that's good. There was so much happening that just kind of got lost in the shuffle. On DraftKings, my favorite by a fairly, and I mean, no, he's my favorite on both sides by a fairly large margin. It's Varsho batting cleanup for the Blue Jays. Lefty going up against Turnbull, absolutely smashes righties, good spot in the lineup, and he's cheap on both sides. He's affordable. So Varsho is my favorite on both sides. And then the guys I'm kind of getting to from a salary saving perspective the most, Jordan Walker, Riley Green, Tyler O'Neill, Franchi Cordero, Willie Calhoun batting cleanup for the Yankees today, or 5th for the Yankees today. As a lefty, I like quite a bit. And then the expensive guys I'm getting to the most often are 1, Byron Buxton, 2, Aaron Judge, followed by George Springer.
Very good. Okay. TJ, is there anything else you want to kind of discuss, talk about, clear up? Because if not, we've got about 8 minutes to dive into some QQs. And Chief, I'll give you that opportunity as well.
No, I think we basically covered it. The only thing I'd say is like I love Chiefs Minnesota call. The only one I'm not quite as high on is him in terms of like one-off perspectives is I think is San Diego, just because I'm always a little wary of picking out one-offs in a bullpen game. Just I feel like it's so often that they'll get their worst possible matchup, but they still have an almost 5 total. It's the 3rd highest on the board, so they're going to be scoring some runs somewhere. That's just kind of the one that it's like basically everything I've been like, yeah, me too. I agree. Let's do it. And that's the one where I'm like, ooh, Chief, if the Padre stack does it, I'm going to be mad at you because I'm not going to make any money and you are.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Chief, anything you want to add here? If not, I can get into these questions.
Let's get these questiones.
Let's do it. About 7 minutes. I am starting in the RG Discord. By the way, make sure you hit that thumbs up. This is excellent free content thanks to our sponsor, Fanduel. Jump in the RotoGrinders Discord, and I will start with a DK cash question. Chief, I'm coming to you. Xander or Willie Adames?
Ooh. I'm definitely going Xander over Adames.
Very good. NBA DFS is Fanduel cash in the util, TJ. We got spend up. We got money here. You want Arenado or Vlad?
Cash Arenado.
Very good. FanDuel Cash, Chief, right back at you. Trey or Adames?
I'm assuming they're talking about Trey Turner.
I would think. Yeah.
Give me Adames, man. I don't want to mess with Lodolo.
Very good. Tom says, TJ. Yeah, please.
For what it's oh, never mind. Sorry, ignore me. Continue. Do your thing.
That's fine. All right, I got a difficult question coming your way here. Going to make you work for it. Tom says, best outfielder in DK Cash at 3K or cheaper.
Outfielder DK Cash, 3K or cheaper. It is. Oh, Burleson is up above 3K. It's probably Will Myers. That is what the projections say, but my favorite is Franchi Cordero.
Okay, noted. Chief, right back at you here. You want Miranda, Matt, and Steer. You know what? I see. Okay, sorry. The question was, who is your favorite third baseman at 3,700 or under on DK, Chief?
I'm probably going to go with Miranda just because I'm really into the Twins.
Very good. Nate says DKGPP. You want Machado and Stanton, TJ? I mean, that sounds good. Or Judge and Steer.
Machado and Stanton or Judge and Steer. Yeah. I would go Judge and Steer.
Very good. All right. DK single entry in the outfield. Chief, Senzel or Willie Calhoun?
Oh, man. God. Give me Senzel. I like him today.
The question was amended to say Senzel, Willie Calhoun, or somebody else. This is like last man in, so no point in saving money, I guess.
I'm assuming, but with those guys being 2K and Willie's 2,100, I'm assuming they've got to be pretty cheap. So I don't mind either of those. Like that's fine. Okay. I mean, look, Biggio's my favorite for what it's worth at the bottom for 2,400. If you can get him, like that's who I actually play.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. All right. Quick update to my earlier question that I posed off the top of the show about how tonight will go. I'm throwing in the towel. I feel awful just doing this show. I don't think I can put in the work. I don't think I can put in the work tonight, Chief.
Well, listen, you're definitely hurt. Then you're not just taking a day off. So
no, man, I don't think
he's not hurt. He's injured.
Yeah, this is an injury. All right. Hey, seeing a pitcher for the second time around in a week, a bump to bats. That's a great question. TJ, Chief, is that something you guys look at?
No.
No, Chief?
Nope. I don't worry about it.
Very good. All right. Curious. DK tournament from K-Town's finest. Biggio as a switch from Julien. TJ?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Jumping back in the Discord. Get your questions in. We got 4 minutes. I don't want to sit here and tap dance. Get your damn questions in. You can ask literally anything. Almost. You can ask almost anything. Don't pry too deep into what's going down tonight. FanDuel GPP, TJ, Machado Buxton or Steer Springer?
Machado Buxton.
Machado Buxton. Okay. Very good. Got a few people typing, trying to get some QQs in. I just feel like I should be stacking up the Yankees and playing a good pitcher, TJ.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
I feel like that's what I should be doing. And I mean, this guy, who's the pitcher there that they're going against? Ryan?
Joe Ryan.
So if he gets beat by the fly ball. Is that
correct? He gives up fly balls based over 50% of the time, which is wildly high for a pitcher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He strikes out 32% of right-handed batters though.
But like, let him strike out and hit home runs, and I feel like that's gonna be okay. Like strikeouts and home runs. All right, let's see. To get to Biggio, okay, so we're back on this one, Chief. To get to Biggio with those cheapies, I have to go down from Montgomery to Bassett. Is that worth it or no?
No,
not
for me.
I agree. I'm very much team Montgomery for optimals today. I locked Lodolo on DraftKings, and I have Montgomery in over half my lineups.
Yeah. All right. Very good. NBA DFS says Roth is a late scratch tonight. That's accurate. Yeah. Achilles, FanDuel Cash, TJ Contreras or Grisham?
Contreras, if it's the St. Louis one.
All right, Chief, back to you. This is also FanDuel Cash. Goldie Contreras or Tellez Buxton?
Goldie Contreras.
On the cash side, you're almost always going to lead to St. Louis just because Velasquez is so bad.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, TJ Varsho or Machado?
That's Varsho for me.
Okay. Chief, DK Cash, SP2, Bassett or J-Mont?
J. Montgomery. I'm not playing any Bassett.
Okay, very good. Less than 2 minutes here. Got a question from my guy Cleveland Picker. He's not a guitar player. He that means he goes to garage sales and yard sales, to be clear. What's up, Chief?
For what it's worth, I like Martinez better than Jordan Montgomery tonight, but I'm probably in a class of my own. But I'm playing way more Martinez than Montgomery, for what it's worth.
Okay. All right, very good. Chief, do you think a 3-3-2 is viable on FanDuel tonight?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Are the Padres going under-owned? TJ, are the Padres going under-owned?
I don't think so, but I think Chief thinks so.
Okay. Very good. Jeff Morgan says, Brandon Bell okay today as a one-off?
He's been so bad, but God, just have to play him.
Okay, very good. We're less than a minute until lock. I'm holding on. I need to be saved by the bell here. See if we got any more questions coming in. Hey, on your way out, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that like button for us. There you go. Hit the thumbs up. All right. You know what? I don't see any more QQs that have come in. Here we go. The scorekeeper says I just 5-man stacked the Yankees with Lodolo. Hashtag let us pray.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm in. That's that. You will have my build. So let me know how it goes tomorrow. I'm not actually going to do it, but how you do is how I would have done. So let me know how that goes tomorrow. One more question, and then we're going to bounce. Schwarber versus Varsho is the final question of the day. TJ?
Varsho.
Very good. All right. Hey, with that, I think we're going to get on here. I just got tagged. So both guys like Montgomery as SP2 in cash. Is that accurate?
I actually don't, but it's the right play. I don't like Jordan Montgomery, for what it's worth.
For cash, you have to choose between Bassett and Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
I think Martinez outscores Montgomery straight up today.
And just do that in a tournament. Just don't play cash if that's who you want to play.
Gotcha. Very good.
Like,
good
I'm not saying don't play Martinez by any shape or form. I'm playing some Martinez today.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't play cash if that's who you want to roll with as your pitcher.
Okay, very good. A few people saying congrats on the 5-year anniversary. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's crazy. It went so fast. We are going to jump on out of here so I can go collapse in a bed. So for TJ, for Chief, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.